S26 Ultra cameras are... They're always over-sharpened and they rock 3X hardware that's almost
4 years old.
Wait, no, they downgraded that? So
It's even worse.
I was expecting things to be really grim for the S26 Ultra this year, but there's one setting that fixes almost all these problems. By default, the S26 Ultra takes sharpening a little too far. Here in this image, the background bokeh is over-sharpened. And here's the iPhone for reference. Usually we're stuck with the way iPhone reproduces its photos, but in the case of Samsung here, we have a good luck module called Camera Assistant, and an option called Photo Softening. Maxing this out, not only we've gained a lot of details in my hair, but the background is now much more soft as it should be. And comparing this to the iPhone shot, well, the tables have turned completely. Not only Samsung is way less noisy here, but it almost looks like a real camera. Obviously one with a cheap kit lens, but I digress. We still have signs of digital enhancement through the form of aggressive noise reduction. But even if we applied noise reduction to the iPhone, we still have a little bit more detail. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for the Samsung. There is a lot of color noise present on my tank top here. And in sunlight, Samsung's 3X webcam actually performs pretty good. Unlike our testing from yesteryear, where the 3X would easily be beaten up by the iPhone's 3X crop, this year, it is good. There's significantly less noise and there's more detail, despite the small sensor size. And it also does pretty well in low light, with more fur detail here, though a bit more noisy. Now, zooming even further, why am I mewing? Anyway, Samsung here is a bit overexposed, but there is more detail in the jacket here. Personally, I wouldn't use long-range zoom in this lighting condition, especially with Western phones having tiny sensors for their telephotos. If we push back to our larger sensors with a 2x crop, we have more details here in the hair, significantly less noise in the background, and a much more creamy bokeh thanks to the wider f1.4 lens on the Samsung compared to f1.8 on the iPhone. The mid-tone roll-off on the Samsung here is also much better than iPhone's flat rendition. Punching out to 1x to utilize the full sensor this time, the same story can be said here. There's more detail in the Samsung, less noise, creamier bokeh, and the mid-tone roll-off is still much better, with the iPhone deciding to go to contrast central. And here in this photo, the iPhone looks like it has no idea what grass looks or feels like, unlike the S26 Ultra and myself.
I'm gonna touch grass.
You're touching grass?
Bro, I haven't touched grass in years. Like, I'm not joking.
Go and touch.
Punching further out. Wait, wrong image. Okay. Great, I forgot to take a ultra-wide photo at an event called Ultra. Fantastic. Have my studio instead. What the fuck? The iPhone's ultra-wide is ultra shit. During the day, both phones are pretty much identical, with the iPhone having darker shadows and the Samsung having slightly more saturation. I'm not gonna compare the photos individually, because do you know how long it takes me to edit these photo comparison segments? A lot longer than it takes for you to like and subscribe. So make sure you go like and subscribe, because I don't have the VFX budget to do a like and subscribe animation anymore, so I'm flashing you these photos instead. Video! Oh boy, we already know this story. The iPhone is going to lose during the day. This year, Samsung has blessed us with pretty much the best video I've ever seen on Android by far. The iPhone's white balance tends to be too warm. And did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? Holy hell! Lens transitions from Samsung? I will say though, there's definitely something going on with iPhone's white balance, and they seemingly have made it worse every single iOS update. I'm on 26.4.1 or whatever you want to call it, and the white balance literally shifted mid-set. Maybe this is a built-in system to detect whether or not I'm ego lifting with shit form. Now, it gets even better, because in low light, you wouldn't believe it! The Samsung can't keep up with the iPhone. Shadows are noisy, lens transitions are now jittery, and the highlights are always almost 100% of the time blown out. And in this shot, no, I did shoot that. I swear I did shoot that. Oh, wait, right, the phone died. just a little over halfway through the event, I had
40.
% left on the iPhone and only 11% on the Samsung, and after that it died and I needed to charge it using a power bank. Yeah, not good. Now, this is really interesting because under normal circumstances where I'm not in a crowd of thousands of people all fighting for cellular network and constantly spamming my cameras, which I spammed both of these equally, the S26 Ultra has pretty much the same battery life as the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and sometimes actually beats it out. So do with that information as you will. And I know one thing for a fact, if I ever go to another concert, rave, or anything, I will be bringing a power bank for this thing, or simply just bring this thing. Now, performance. You can play PC games on the S26 Ultra. Need I say more? In terms of benchmarks in Geekbench 6, the S26 Ultra is almost the same as the iPhone in single core, but thrashes it in multi-core. In 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme, the Samsung once again thrashes the iPhone, likewise in Still No Man Light, but for ray tracing, the iPhone is way ahead, with actual games supporting it, like Arknight's Enfield, in the station and in one of the boss fights. That's it.
Bruh.
And in real-world usage, these phones pretty much perform identically. Running ZZZ for I don't know how long, I pretty much play until I'm bored. Arknight's Enfield does thermal throttle both of these phones pretty much identically. They both start to run at 40 frames per second after 20 minutes. And yeah, well, both of these phones are good. The iPhone does dim its screen, though, pretty hard. So, what has Samsung done here? Well, they've bridged the gap between the Galaxy and their iPhone, their direct Western competitor. Well, at least everything in terms of photos, videos, and everything aside from low light video and probably battery life. I will update you guys if the battery gets better. But I still haven't talked about One UI, Good Lock, and all of its modules. And obviously the privacy screen, which I'm pretty sure you guys have already seen a trillion times. But if you do want to see me talk about that again in my long-term review, which will be about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, make sure you do like and subscribe.